What's going on, TubeU? Welcome back to the Plot Coalition YouTube channel. Today we're doing another Filmmaker Breakdown, and for those of you who are long-term fans of the channel, today, special treat, we are talking about the Titanfall 2 cinematic trailer, which was created by Blur Studio, and it is probably one of the best looking game trailers to ever come out. Very underrated. But as far as like realism goes, partly because some of it is filmed for real, but we'll get into that a little bit. But we're going to talk about it. Blur Studio did an amazing job with this trailer for Titanfall 2. I am going to play it muted because the whole thing is covered by a song and I don't want to get copyright claimed. So we're just going to watch it on mute. I'll kind of talk through it in real time, and then we'll go through kind of shot by shot, break it down, what makes it great, all that fun jazz. Let's get into it. Let's not waste any time. All right, here we go. This is the Become One trailer, which starts off very much so kind of establishing this Western kind of feel to it, especially with the song, which I'm not playing right now, as I mentioned, but like all these shots, I think one of the things that really makes this stand out is every single shot is just so intentional. There's no filler in this trailer, and we'll kind of get into and break down some of the things that go into it. There's some really interesting behind the scenes documentation that they have. Look at that. Well, bam, well, bam. I think one of the other things that makes this Titanfall trailer so iconic is just the fact that like the game makes you feel like this is what's going on. I feel like it's one of the few cinematic trailers that, you know, really shows what the game makes you feel like. It is fantastic. Man. It looks so good. It's so clean. And I didn't know that Blur did this for the longest time. And when I realized that, I was like, duh. Like, they are fantastic. And then boom. That's such a cool shot. All right. Let's break this down. Which, if you don't know who Blur Studio is, they are the people who facilitate Love, Death, and Robots, and they make a few of the shorts on each season. Well, I think they do one short per season, but then like they facilitate with the other studios. There is a helicopter outside. We're gonna wait for that. All right, hey. It's me from the future, and I'm actually editing this video right now, and I found a bunch of great documentation from Blur themselves detailing the behind the scenes of how this was made. So I'll link that in the description. A lot of my guesses were actually pretty close. They actually did end up filming a lot more live action than I would have thought, so that is super cool, but definitely feel free to check that out. Super duper cool. Blur Studio is amazing, but back to the video. One of the things that really makes this stand out, like, I mean, this shot is certainly iconic. It looks amazing. Probably 100% CG if I had to guess. Maybe a shot of like this is a green screen of the guy, but my guess is the shot is 100% CG, because why wouldn't you if you have the assets? So what's interesting about this trailer as a whole, so like some of it is live action footage and some of it is for real. And I haven't been able to find like specifically in the behind the scenes, but I think this is like a total stretch, but just based off the way certain things look, my guess is this is 100% CG except for his face. He had like, they have shots of him on set and he has like actual armor and stuff, but like the main reason you'd want to replace it all with CG is like, so something like this, his hand holding like the helmet right here, like that'd be very hard to composite this in because it has like this perfect reflection of you know, the Titan in the background. So like stuff like this shot is probably 100% done with CG. Same thing with this shot. You know, it looks fantastic. My guess is that's just all animated because, you know, getting somebody to do that perfectly twice, it's probably kind of tough, and there are probably things you can do to cheat it, but why do that when you can have it animated? So this shot of his face, pretty sure this is real dude, but I think that's also what makes this so powerful, especially because like back when this came out, back in 2016, like we were certainly getting like really nice looking cinematic trailers, but there was still a little bit of a disconnect. It's not like the Warcraft trailer that recently came out that had a really good looking human face. So it's smart to kind of blend these things together so that it looks real, combined with there's actual real footage in there. And I think something that they're really doing to really highlight that and really dismiss your mind of it being CG is the shooting in broad daylight. I think really adds to that feeling. And then this, you know, all this 100% CG, but what's so cool about this is the way they're using the camera. So like the way the camera spins around here to be a storytelling thing, so they come down at the same time. Like this is all just really good choreography, and they knew what they wanted right out of the gate to get this shot. It's so good. And from a filmmaking perspective, like they do a nice job like transitioning right into the action, having it be a slow motion shot. But then as they come around and do this, it's showing more of their bond by showing how in sync they are, doing kind of the same motion. They're using that as a storytelling device. And same thing here, like I would be willing to bet that this is probably him in real get-up armor in front of a real fire, because that's a relatively easy shot to get. They probably just shot it in a studio. You know, it's very intentional in hiding that that's the case. And then right here, this is like one of the few times that I feel like these kind of zoom in, moving around camera motions really works right here, because it's like it's kind of trying to show a moment in time, and like everything in Titanfall happens so fast that like being able to slow that down and, you know, kind of getting a grasp of what's going on really helps. And look, dude, look at this. Look at this fire right here. Like the fire, the wood debris, like everything here. It's at such high fidelity, and that's something that Blur does incredibly well. They pay so much attention to every single little detail, and like, you know, it gets lost in the action, it gets lost in the motion blur, but having it there just makes it feel solidified and more realistic. And like even that shot, like just the way they've timed it and everything, they've set up the motion, like, you know what happens here, even though it's only there for a split second. Looks so good. My door just opened. Ominous. So this right here, I would say this is probably the most CG looking shot in the whole thing, but even still, it's a great looking shot. And then that right there, that's probably this dude on a green screen just walking in front of the camera. And I'm willing to bet his get up here is probably real. It's giving you so much info in the action, and it's very intentional about it. And like all of this is stuff that you're gathering while it's happening. So like you see BT throw this, you know, Jack sliding in, you get all of this info. Like it's just in the nick of time before he gets punched. This guy gets straight up ripped out. And this is all happening so fast. But they're using the camera in such a way, and they're showing you what needs to be shown. They're giving very intentional visuals that are just making this like feel so smooth and playback so well. And once again, it's so chaotic. There's so much going on. There's so much motion blur, everything, but you're still getting all the information you need. And that's just good filmmaking. And something like this is something that they storyboard and figure out like way before it ever gets to them putting cameras in a scene, right? Or even animation. Like they are figuring this out to a T. And that's something, if you watch a lot of the behind the scenes of stuff that Blur does, they are figuring out every single shot, how it's going to work, how they're going to try and push boundaries. You know, it works out because like everything they do is fantastic, but it's all about figuring out, like, just goes through so much iteration to make sure that everything can be as excellent as possible. Even down to like right here, like that shot with the ferns kind of, you know, bending as the canister pushes it away. All that's all stuff they're trying to calculate and see, like, okay, how many of these ferns need to move when this canister drops in, and then they simulate that foliage kind of rustling around. And like, you know, within this, one of the very interesting things that they've done that you don't see a ton in game trailers and whatnot, but is all of this dense foliage, all this fern foliage. It's a very unique environment for a game trailer. You know, usually they like to go with destroyed cities and stuff like that, stuff that just feels like in the game, in the world. You know, Titanfall 2 certainly has maps and levels like this, but it's a very unique place to choose to set up more of the trailer, because even after this, when they're walking through like this ash wasteland, it's like, wait, what's happened here? You know, you're starting to ask questions about, you know, kind of what is this mission? What are they doing? And it's all using storytelling beats to set that up. So this is like a nice example where I've seen on-set photos where they are shooting this, where it's like just him kind of, I believe it's on a sound stage where they brought in like a couple of trees and then the rest are built out in CG. But one of the main reasons that they do stuff like that for a shot like this is like, you know, he's really good reference to have of like how much ash is there, how dense is this, and then they can build the scene around that. You know, having him kind of be the central driving plate of what this is going to look like, and then everything else is expanding out. It's really good reference to have to make the shot look as good as it does right here. And so like even right here, like just getting you to look somewhere specific. So like, you know, once again, we're doing that whole, they're doing combat the same way. It just feels so nice. And like everything that they have right here. So like this is all, like this thing right here, I'm willing to bet that's animated by hand. And then being open to exaggerate little things too. Like a lens flare wouldn't necessarily be quite this bright, but to exaggerate it for the purposes of this, just to really drive home, you know, what's happening. It makes for more interesting lighting, for a brief frame. It illuminates the characters so you get a more defined look. It's just super cool. And this right here, like the amount of shake that they have going on, just so you can really feel the weight of these Titans. And then once again, like we're kind of getting this is their final stand. Like they're out of ammunition. Like I'm willing to bet there was probably an idea at some point that's like, this is like to show something where this is the last bullet he has. Didn't make it into the cut, but like, you know, it's kind of giving that vibe. So one thing I haven't really talked a lot about in the other two that I've done, but is this volumetric fog that they have. And volumetric fog is essentially like, you know, like fog is dense, but when you start passing light through it, it creates what's called these God rays or volumetric rays. And like they're using it right here in a really clever way to build this frame. And I'm willing to bet if like you go back, it probably doesn't 100% make sense except for like these last couple of shots. And like something tells me that they probably were like, we want this to be the shot, and then built the other shots around it because they knew how intentional they wanted these light rays to come across, you know, this frame in particular, and they wanted to do the whole thing widescreen so that these rays came across this way. And once again, it's all stuff they're figuring out long before, you know, it gets to what you see. Like they're already figuring out and storyboarding like how it's actually going to look and feel. Fantastic shot. And then like we kind of get the reveal of what they've been doing this whole time. Dropping these flammable gas canisters. And look, oh man, I've never even noticed this before. But watch, you can see the cylinder turn right here when he starts to pull the trigger as it chambers the round. That looks so cool. And then like right here, it's such a little detail. There's so little going on right there, but it tells you like everything. And the ignition looks so cool. And like, if you've ever seen like any other Blur's work, you know that like these gas explosions with these like blue ripples and stuff, like that is their bread and butter. They can make a gas explosion look so good. And all this rustling of the trees, you know, and now we're about to come full circle. We come from this shot right here, they're walking away, to this shot right here, they're walking towards the camera. And it's like the same aesthetic, completely different feel. It's much more gritty here, and they've set it up. That's part of the story. So yeah, that was the Titanfall 2 Become One launch trailer made by Blur Studio. So thank you very much for watching, taking the time. For you Titanfall fans who came to my channel because of New Frontiers, one, I can't thank you enough, but I also do hope that you enjoyed this video. And for anybody else, I hope you got a little bit of insight. I like to do these Filmmaker Breakdown videos. I'm trying to do them like once a month to give kind of my perspective on different cinematic game trailers that I really enjoy. And this is one of my favorites because Titanfall. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sure you got better things to do, so I'm gonna stop yapping. Hey, it's me from the future one more time. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I did want to let you know that on May 19th, a teaser trailer for my next project is coming out. So it's something I've been working on, super duper cool. Definitely check it out next Sunday, this coming Sunday, May 19th. Mark your calendars, or subscribe and set notifications, and you'll be able to see it. But that's it. All right, thanks, bye.